Today's show is sponsored by the Electric Vehicle Association. Join up to support the electrification of transport and get the help you need to finance your own EV or clean energy future. And by EnergySage. Visit the link in the description to find local verified solar experts and community projects in your area. Welcome back to another episode of TEN, Transport Evolved News. I'm done with all of my gallivanting around the Pacific Northwest, and thanks to masking the entire time, I'm also COVID-free. So let's get on with today's stories because we have a lot to get through. We start with one of the last bits of EV news from last year, namely exactly which vehicles sold the best throughout the year in the US. And as data from industry analysts Cox Automotive shows, the most popular electric vehicles of 2023 in the US were the Tesla Model Y and Tesla Model 3. Frankly, by a massive margin, accounting for the lion's share of all EVs sold in North America. In third place, the Chevrolet Bolt EV and EUV, with the Ford Mustang Mach-E in fourth, the Volkswagen ID.4 in fifth, and the Hyundai Ioniq 5 in sixth, showing a strong demand for mid-priced, mid-size EVs. The Rivian R1S, Ford F-150 Lightning, Tesla Model X, and BMW i4 completed the top 10 respectively, and frankly, I think this EV sales chart is fantastic as it shows that people prefer more affordable models over more expensive ones. Starting over last weekend, CES 2024 grabbed a lot of the automotive world's attention, and we have plenty of news stories from the show to share this week. First up, Honda, which unveiled two new concept cars at the show. As is usually the case with CES, the two vehicles, the Honda Zero Series concepts, the Saloon and Space Hub, feature a lot of gadgetry, vehicle smarts and in-car tech. As is also usually the case, we shouldn't expect either vehicle to make it to production in anywhere near concept form, and personally, I'm not a fan of the massive angular design of both vehicles, not to mention the 80s Lamborghini vibes of the Saloon. But Honda promises that it will be bringing a production vehicle to market in 2026 based on said Saloon, which will apparently be pretty close to the concept in its design. Watch this space. Just a few years ago, rental company Hertz went all in on EVs, announcing massive partnerships with Tesla and similar ones with other automakers to transition its rental fleet to electric. This week, however, we learned that Hertz has begun to sell off some of its first on-the-fleet Tesla Model 3s, with some vehicles, their standard range variants, being offered on its used car portal for under $18,000, and that's before you factor in a $4,000 used car tax rebate from the US federal government. Some news outlets are claiming it's because Hertz is dumping EVs all in, but it's worth noting that Hertz, like most rental firms, sells ex-rental vehicles after a few years of service, and while it has cooled its jets on the rate of EV adoption it has planned, has criticised Tesla's repair costs, and admitted in an SEC filing this week that the proceeds of selling off those early EVs might partially fund acquisition of new internal combustion engine vehicles for the fleet, the company maintains it's still interested in an EV future, despite plans to reduce the number of EVs on its current fleet. But what do you think? Let me know below. We're back to CES now with another concept reveal, this time from Kia, which revealed its Kia Platform Beyond Vehicle Solutions this week at the event. The concept vehicles, which the company says are, quote, intended to enhance versatility, catering to business and individuals, end quote, are designed to share a modular core platform and can offer everything from delivery vehicle and luggage carrying capabilities to passenger shuttles, enhancing mobility options for wheelchair users, and much more. Just like concept car reveals of recent CES shows, all PBV vehicles are imagined to offer autonomous driving. And while Kia is keen to point out its future vehicle vision is one it would like to make a commercial reality, we feel these vehicles are very much nowhere near production ready. In response to changes at the EPA when it comes to vehicle range and efficiency tests, Tesla has tweaked its range estimates for its entire lineup to make them more achievable in the real world. While Tesla has been criticised by some analysts for being very optimistic about its real-world range, the way range test procedures were laid out by the EPA were frankly to blame, and the change in those procedures has caused Tesla to tweak its range estimates. For the most part, Tesla's US range ratings have dropped by between 10 and 20 miles or 16 to 32 kilometres, which, frankly, is still well within the margin of error that we'd like to hope most EV drivers are learning to drive with, because just like an internal combustion engine vehicle, external forces like weather and driving style can make a much larger impact on real-world range than those tweaked figures. VinFast was out in full force at CES this week, unveiling not just a new global compact SUV, but a pickup truck and an electric bicycle as well. First up, the VF3, an electric compact crossover that VinFast says will go on sale in the US market. Smaller than most of the competition, it's being called a mini SUV and offers seating for 4 and a target range of, quote, over 125 miles per charge. If it's priced right, it could be a very important vehicle. At the other end of the spectrum came the VF Wild, a crew cab pickup truck concept which previews a production pickup truck from the brand. Following in the tyre tracks of many other electric pickups we've seen, it offers pass-through rear access to the back of the cabin through the bed, which means 8 feet items can be carried without putting the tailgate down. VinFast also unveiled a brand new e-bike. We might all like to hope that people are deciding to buy electric vehicles because they're far, far better for the world around us, but the reality is that money speaks. At least, that's the verdict of consultancy firm Deloitte, which says in a new study published this week that the number one reason people make the switch to electric isn't because they want to minimise climate change, but because EVs are cheaper to own and operate in the long term. In its latest survey, which polled just over 1,000 individuals, it concluded that 66% of people who go electric do so because of lower fuel and maintenance costs. That said, the survey, like many before it, also discovered that the primary barrier to EV adoption is high sticker price. If gasoline prices rise, it suggests, we could see EV sales soar, but only if sticker prices also fall. Last week, we told you about the deal stuck between diesel engine manufacturer Cummins, the US EPA, and the state of California. In that, the former agreed to pay $1.67 billion in fines for installing cheat devices in diesel engines. While so-called cheat devices, as some of you note, are just a software subroutine designed to cheat in diesel emissions tests, this week we learned that the fallout of the settlement is much larger than first thought. In addition to the settlement fine, Cummins also agreed to pay $325 million in environmental damage charges and, working with Ram, will recall 600,000 diesel pickups which are currently not in compliance with EPA emissions requirements. Expect this one to rumble on for a while. From an automaker doing very badly to one doing very well now. Or rather, the Hyundai Motor Group, parent company of Hyundai, Kia and Genesis brands. With all of the sales data for last year now officially tabulated, Hyundai-Kia's combined electric vehicle sales soared past rivals Ford and General Motors to secure it the second place in the US EV sales chart for last year. Tesla, in first place, sold more than 650,000 vehicles in North America last year, accounting for 55% of the 1.2 million EVs sold in the US. But thanks to strong Ioniq 5 and Ioniq 6 sales, not to mention Kia EV6 and EV9 sales, 8% of all new EVs sold last year in the US came from the Korean firm, with 117,000 EVs sold. More fantastic news next, this time from the world of renewable energy. That's because the IEA, the International Energy Agency, has concluded that the world has a chance of meeting its renewable energy goals as set out at COP28. While much of COP28 was met with disappointment by environmentalists and journalists, me included, the amount of renewable energy brought online last year around the world, a record of nearly 510 gigawatts, sets a path that means we could, as a global society, reach the target of tripling our renewable energy generation by 2030. And while there's been a lot of criticism for China from other nations for not doing enough to go green, it is worth noting that the People's Republic of China was the world's leader in solar projects last year. It installed as many solar generation plants last year as the whole world did in 2022. Onwards and upwards. Which brings me very nicely to how you can get solar at home, courtesy of one of today's video sponsors, EnergySage. EnergySage helps homeowners connect with local, verified solar installers across the US and heat pump specialists in select markets who really know their stuff and can help you navigate the process of installing solar panels, help you join a community solar program, or get a heat pump installed. I used EnergySage when we were looking for installers willing to help us put solar panels on the roof of our home, and our EnergySage verified installers were professional, knowledgeable, and even put us in touch with an amazing credit union that allowed us to finance our solar panels for as low a monthly payment as possible. Follow the links below to sign up for either of EnergySage's free, no-obligation services and get that ball rolling today. If you do choose to use an EnergySage installer for your project, we will get a small referral fee, so you'll be helping us out too. And now, it's time for Short Shorts. Electric motorcycle company Cake has recalled some of its models, including the Cake Calc, to rectify potential faults in the battery packs of some bikes that could lead to faults and failures while charging. It will replace affected battery packs free of charge under warranty. Volkswagen announced at CES 2024 this week that it will introduce ChatGPT into its MEB and MQB platform vehicles that currently offer its IDA voice assistant. We made a video on this very topic this week, so check it out at the end of the show if you're interested. UK telephone company BT, which, while it might no longer be the company you pay your phone bill to, is still responsible for the UK's telephone infrastructure, and it's completed the first recommissioning of an old, no longer needed telephone phone exchange cabinet into an EV charging station. There will be many more. The European Investment Bank has awarded Volvo a €420 million loan agreement to help Volvo fund the development of a brand new electric vehicle platform. Volvo maintains it will be a 100% electric automaker by 2030, and this loan will help that happen. Talking of all-electric, BMW confirmed this week that as of late 2027, its iconic Munich production facility will only produce electric vehicles. While BMW is expected to continue to make ICE vehicles beyond that date in some markets, it is going all-electric in Europe. Ebike Mobility, a company based in West Africa, has announced its intent to introduce a total of more than 33,000 electric taxis in the region by 2033. Through a partnership with BYD, it will begin establishing a fleet in Senegal after a successful 10-vehicle pilot program there. A new research consortium in Europe has been established to develop multifunctional structural components that could form part of an integrated semi-solid-state battery pack for use in future electric airplanes. It's part of the EU Matisse project. The ongoing geopolitical tensions in the Red Sea region has caused Tesla to temporarily halt production at its gigafactory in Berlin. While Tesla is far from the only company suffering as the usual shipping lanes from Asia to the Mediterranean are affected, it's the first automaker we're aware of to pause production because of the conflict. Tier 1 parts supplier Magna unveiled its next-generation electric vehicle drivetrain tech at CES this week, with its new eDrive front and centre. The motor is designed to operate at 800 volts and can provide up to 250 kilowatts of power. Hyundai Mobis also showcased its latest motor technology this week at CES, as well as an entire electric vehicle demonstration platform it calls Mobion. The vehicle showcased Hyundai Mobis' latest iteration of its e-corner in-wheel motor and all-wheel steering solution. EV charging network ChargePoint has announced a sudden quote-unquote reorganisation that will see it lay off approximately 12% of its staff worldwide. ChargePoint says the restructuring will cost it approximately $14 million, but free up cash long term. Ford showcased a new project it's been working on this week that it's been developing to make in-car parts made from byproducts of olive trees. Ford is currently using the organic-derived plastics in prototyping, but it could eventually form part of future in-car parts. Hawaii's last coal-fired power plant has been replaced by a brand new Tesla Megapack battery system that could dramatically lower the state's carbon footprint. Instead of relying on coal-fired peaker plants, the 185 megawatt, 565 megawatt hour storage facility will allow Hawaii to cleanly respond to demand spikes. Lucid Motors published its fourth quarter and year-end delivery figures this week, and thanks to an overall fall in the number of vehicles delivered year over year, its stock fell to unprecedented lows. At the end of the week, Lucid was heading towards $3 a share. Tesla has reportedly told production associates, material handlers and quality inspectors at its US factories that they will be getting a pay rise. While Tesla hasn't explicitly said so, many in the industry surmise that Tesla's pay rise is an attempt to stave off UAW's attempts to unionize at Tesla facilities. Renault is officially ending its Zity electric car share service in Paris. According to Renault's mobility brand Mobilize, Zity will cease all operations in Paris on January 15th. The company did not go into depth as to why it's decided to end the service. It's official. Hyundai is the most fuel-efficient legacy automaker in the US. That's according to the EPA, which published a list this week of which automakers made the most efficient cars for the 2022 model year. Tesla, obviously, was the overall champ. StoreDot published a new press release coinciding with CES this week that promises big things for the firm, including prismatic StoreDot cells, the first full-scale ultra-fast charging demonstration vehicle, thanks to its partnership with Polestar, and much more. Volkswagen surprised everyone this week by dropping the price of its ID range of EVs in Europe. While Volkswagen had previously stated it didn't want to get involved in a price war with Tesla, it sure as heck looks like it's got involved in a price war with Tesla. Honda is rumoured to be considering Canada as the home for a brand new battery plant and EV production facility that could be worth up to $14 billion. While the company hasn't officially confirmed the news, multiple outlets are claiming Ontario is the chosen province where the factory will be based. Hyundai's air taxi brand Supernal unveiled its take on quote-unquote advanced air mobility this week with a new electric vertical takeoff and landing vehicle that it says will offer clean, scalable transportation in megacities around the world. eVTOL is still very much a buzzword at CES. The US federal government has released a total of $622.57 million in grant funding to different projects across the US that aim to build a robust and reliable national EV charging network. The image on screen shows other states where funds were allocated. More funds will be dispersed in the future. Thanks to more consumer choice than ever before, BMW nearly doubled its all-electric sales figures in 2023 when compared to the previous year. Globally, the firm sold just over 375,000 battery electric vehicles, which is up 74.4% year-on-year. You've been able to order Tesla's Highland Model 3 in Europe for some time now, but the order books just opened in North America for the same. You'll be able to place an order now for deliveries within the month. The new car may look similar to its predecessor, but it's very different inside and underneath. Grid-tied energy storage projects across the US will total more than 30 gigawatts of instantaneous power transfer capability by the end of the year. That's according to the US Energy Information Administration, which tracks renewable energy installations. Volkswagen confirmed that it delivered a total of 394,000 electric vehicles around the world in 2023. While Volkswagen EV deliveries are up 21% year-on-year, they still only account for 9% of Volkswagen Group sales. Battery specialist Northvolt has secured a massive subsidy from the German government worth €902 million that will help it build a brand new battery gigafactory in Germany. The EU has already given Northvolt its blessing for the same. At CES this week, Hyundai leaned into its plans for a hydrogen fuel cell future and promised that it's going to be investing heavily into new hydrogen energy projects that will leverage software and AI, including a megawatt-scale PEM electrolyzer that's designed to produce hydrogen from food waste. It's official. The median range of all new EVs sold in the US last year hit a new record of 270 miles, or 434 kilometres. The data collated by the DOE's Vehicle Technologies Office shows that new EV range grew by 5% year-on-year. The UAW has confirmed that it's already begun a unionisation effort at Mercedes-Benz's Alabama production plant, where some US market EQ model EVs are made. Workers at the facility are reportedly unhappy with wage stagnation, and support for a union is reportedly high. And finally, for the shorts, Toyota has unveiled a tweaked BZ4X electric crossover for the 2024 model year. There are improvements to onboard driver assistance, a new 8-way power-adjustable driver's seat on some models, and a dual-voltage portable charging unit as standard across all trims. And those are your shorts. There will be. We can't be in CES week without covering a car that's become something of a feature at CES in the last few years. The Sony Honda Mobility Afeela debuted initially as a technology demonstration vehicle and built by Sony back in 2020, the Afeela has grown to a fully fledged vehicle that Sony and Honda plan to bring to production in the near future. And while it does still have a lot of onboard tech, this week it learned a new trick to wow the crowds: full remote control driving. Sure, it might have been a bit of a CES gimmick, but during Sony's hour-long CES keynote, the company's CEO drove the latest iteration of the Afeela prototype out on stage, not by getting behind the wheel, but by grabbing hold of a Sony PlayStation controller. I feel very old. And finally, we here at the channel love electric bicycles and electric scooters and firmly believe that they have a massively important part to play in the electrification of today's transportation. But we also know that poor global standards for e-bike and scooter battery packs has meant that we're seeing an influx of poorly built and terrifyingly designed e-scooters and e-bikes hit the market, with some truly horrifying tales of often budget e-bike battery packs catching fire and causing buildings to burn, and causing far worse to humans. That in turn has led to e-bikes and e-scooters being banned on some public transit systems around the world and even at some institutions. This week, the National Renewable Energy Laboratory, or NREL for short, became the latest place to ban e-bikes and e-scooters on campus over fears of poorly built battery fire. I know I've said this before, but the solution here is to build standards globally that are better. But that requires world governments to work together, and history and current affairs suggest that they're really not very good at that, are they? And on that note, we are in fact done for today. As always, a massive thank you to the Electric Vehicle Association for sponsoring today's show. They've been advocating for EVs since 1967, and they firmly believe our future depends on us making the switch to clean, green electric cars today. The EVA can help you find someone near to you that can help you make the switch to electric. It can help you become an EV educator, and it can point you in the direction of monthly meetups for like-minded EV fans. Plus, if you become a member, you'll gain access to a clean energy and EV loan program set up between the EVA and the Colorado Clean Energy Credit Union. So find out more by heading to electricauto.org. And thanks to EnergySage. Follow the link below to find out how easy it can be to get verified, trustworthy solar experts helping you make the step towards energy self-sufficiency, either through solar on the roof of your home, by joining a local community solar project, or by getting a heat pump installed. As usual, we would love it if you'd consider supporting us from just $1 a month on Patreon, or about $10.08 a year. This past year, our Patreon support kept us going when YouTube revenue fell. And if you want to know just how important it's been, check out a video we made at the start of the year that gave our financial roundup for last year. And if Patreon isn't your thing, remember you can support us by using Ko-fi, Bitcoin, our swag store, or indeed just sharing and interacting with our stuff. We also offer consulting services to those interested, and there are links below to our website. As is often the case, we started the new year with a small dip in income, so any help you can send our way will reduce everyone's money stresses, especially mine. And don't forget to buy Erin's latest brand new amazing t-shirt design, Electric for All. It's a new January exclusive t-shirt in the merch store, and she's planning a new design that will be launched every month this year. I'll be back next week as usual, but don't forget that we also publish every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday. So until next time, stay safe, be an ally, be kind, and as always, keep evolving.